Hey, Go Knucklers, it's Flo. Welcome back to another episode of Go Knuckle Talk with Flo, episode number 76. I think, right, Lisa? Number
70.
76? Okay, well, cool. Hey, YouTubers. God, jeez, I went brain dead. Uh, oh,
Should
Jesus,
I
I'm
take
sounding like a
over?
little
Should I
amateur, like I
take
haven't done
over?
this for a while. Yeah. What is it?
Leave a
Subscribe to
comment.
the YouTube channel,
Subscribe.
like the video, and leave a comment. My bad, guys. So I've been thrown off a little bit, but hey, welcome back, Lisa Nolan. Hello.
Hey, Flo, how are you?
Not good. I need a drink now.
I know
so
I
who?
walked into the studio. My husband's like, "You're not getting a drink." I'm like, "No, I'm drinking water."
So
Anyway,
who do we have on tonight?
we have the younger brother of one of my special friends, Kenny Bryant, who's the younger brother of Mona Bryant, class of '89. Welcome. We're so excited to have you. And before we went live, I was telling Kenny I haven't seen him since he was a kid, and I used to come over to their house and hang out with Mona. So thank you for
Yep.
agreeing to come and spend some time with us this evening.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And let's give a shout out to Jenny Hogue. She's the one who recommended Kenny to us. So thank you, Jeannie.
Yes, for
Yes.
sure.
Okay. Well, you want to ask him where's
Yes. Yeah, where are you currently living?
I'm in Abilene, Texas now. Yeah, I spent quite a bit of time in California, but we moved back to Texas about 4 years ago to take care of my mom that lives in this area. So we've been
Well,
here for
after
4 years.
after being gone for so long, was it kind of a bit of culture shock to come back to a small town?
I was happy, honestly. Yeah, I
Really?
was
Okay.
super happy to be back in Texas. Love parts of California. California is beautiful, but it was very nice to get back to this area. And I was more worried about my wife. You know, she's not from Texas, so I was concerned that she wouldn't like it, but she ended up loving it too. So,
Oh, that's wonderful. And do
mhm.
y'all have children?
Yes, I have two boys. 31-year-old that still lives in California with his wife, and my brand new grandchild, my first.
Oh,
And
Oh,
congratulations.
thank
congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, he was just born October 28th, so only a few months old. And then my youngest boy is in the Air Force, and he's stationed in Anchorage, Alaska.
Oh, he didn't
Wow.
follow Daddy's footsteps and wasn't a jarhead, huh?
No, no, no. He's Air Force. I think I scared him away from the Marine Corps with all my stories.
You most likely did.
I probably did.
And is he married? He's not married? No.
No, he's 21. He's a good 10, almost 11 years younger than our oldest boy, and yeah, he's like girlfriends cost too much, so he's holding out.
Smart
Yeah,
kid.
smart guy.
Yeah.
Smart guy.
Yes, it is. Well, without further ado, we're so excited to talk about your journey into the film industry. So, uh, were you in theater when you were young? I mean, like,
Hmm.
so theater
Yes.
in Plainview started what in seventh or eighth grade?
Yeah, I didn't get involved until my freshman year officially. But, my very first time was actually in fourth grade choir. We did a little play called Small One, I think is what it was called. And it was a little Christmas play. I don't remember auditioning. I'm sure there was auditions, but somehow I got the lead role. I was singing and dancing and doing all kinds of stuff in fourth grade. I just remember being on the stage in front of all those people, and I think that's when I first caught the acting bug. Um, but you know how things develop over time. It wasn't much. It was much later when Mona was in choir, and they would do the musicals. And I remember there. I feel like there were two, but the one I remember was the Music Man, and they needed some kids for that show. And Mona took me, and there was a bunch of other kids, and they put us in costume, and they handed us instruments, and we had some scenes in the play, in the live play. And uh, Mona was always real supportive. She kind of drug me along to anything that she could drag me along, with her. So she wasn't like a normal big sister. She actually mostly liked me around. So it was a lot of fun.
I recall her being very fond of you and being a
Yeah.
really involved big sister.
Yes, she
And
really was.
yeah, to the point that she made me feel guilty because I think so. My you may know my younger sister Teresa. Y'all would have graduated the same year, so y'all
Yes,
would
I
have
do
gone to
remember
school.
Teresa.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and I was not that good of a big sister during that time of our lives, to my regret. And Mona put me to shame, and I thought I need to be. She inspired me actually. She didn't shame me. She inspired me to
Hmm.
be a better big sister. So
Yeah, she was great, and I just remember her always, making sure my mom made it to my shows, and I was in band for my freshman year. I was in band, and I needed one more fine arts credit, so I actually accidentally ended up in theater one in high school, half of a credit, and the theater director at the time, actually Mrs. Moore first, and she encouraged me and Angie Sigler to stay another semester because she had this one act play that went to UIL contests. And she goes, "You guys would be perfect. I know what roles I'd put you in." So me and Angie Sigler signed up for another semester, and I ended up quitting band because I couldn't fit both theater and band, and I was in theater the whole rest of the time. So
oh
it's just funny
wow.
how
Do
things
you
work out. Yeah,
Well,
I fell
let's
in love with it.
let's thank your sister for this photo.
Yeah. My mom, we always joke because my mom always says, "You weren't in band." And I'm like, "Mom, we literally have pictures of me in a band outfit."
and
Man,
there it
it looks
is.
like the same uniforms that when I was in band. I was in band too. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
damn, the uniforms didn't change.
Yeah. No,
What'd you play?
I played trumpet.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I played trumpet, and I played from sixth grade to my freshman year, and still love music. It just, I couldn't fit both in my schedule. So ended up going the theater route, and now here I am
Okay.
in movies. So
Sounds like you took the smart route. Do you remember that first? Do you remember what the uh, show was for the UIL? Do you remember what it was? The title of it?
Yes, I actually had to contact Angie Sigler, and she told me I had to write it down. Something about butterflies. Um, where did I write it down? Yes, I never saw another butterfly. I would have never remembered that in a million years, but that was the
Oh.
name of the play. It was actually a play. It was actually a play about letters from Auschwitz, and
Oh
so
wow.
Oh wow.
it was very very heavy play, and we did
Yeah.
well. I remember us doing
Were
well.
you and how old were you guys when you did this?
We were both freshmen, me and Angie Sigler. Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah, and we were with a bunch of juniors and seniors. But there was kids, and I looked like a child still as a freshman in high school, so I fit in perfect as a kid.
Jesus. Well,
Wow.
hey,
Yeah.
you said you did that play in fourth grade, but did you? Of course, I assume you loved movies back when you were
Oh,
around four. So, did you ever do any like plays in the bedroom? You're sitting in your bedroom and just do an act or anything like that. And if you did, what did you do?
yeah. Well, I was 6 years old when Star Wars came out in the movie theater. I'm sure we all remember that. And I
Mhm.
remember when that big Star Destroyer came across that screen, I was like thinking anything's possible once I saw that. And I had every Star Wars toy you could imagine. So I don't remember doing plays per se, but I remember having a really big imagination, and I get the little action figures, and I usually have Luke beat out Han Solo for Princess Leia's love until we found out they were brother and
Brother and
sister later.
sister. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
so you did reenactments with your characters with your.
oh yeah, I mean I could play for hours, by myself. I had a big imagination, and
So you never
so
did in front of the family or in front of friends, anything like that?
I didn't that I remember. Mona would probably remember better. I was actually pretty shy growing up, and even in school, I was very shy. And I remember, I think that what I discovered in ninth grade in theater was just that I could step inside a character and become somebody else, and all of a sudden, I didn't have to be shy anymore, and that really helped me gain confidence through high school. By my senior year, I felt like a whole different person because that's how much it actually helped me. And honestly, if it wasn't for theater, I might not even pass high school. It wasn't that I wasn't a smart kid. I didn't apply myself, except that I needed to have good grades to be in the theater plays. And so I kept my grades up because of that. And I think for me, school was, sometimes challenging in the sense that it wasn't holding my attention, but because of theater, I applied myself. I at least passed. I remember I almost flunked Spanish with Mrs. Job, and at that time, for my sophomore year to my senior year, it was Mrs. Spangler was the theater director, and she went to my teacher, Mrs. Job, and said, "Can you please give him an extra credit assignment so he can pass your class, so he can play the lead part in the UIL play?" And so that was Flowers for Algernon. Had already been cast. We were well along the way, and if I would have flunked that class, it would have messed up the whole thing. But Mrs.
Right,
Job was very kind.
Because of UIL regulations.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. And those are rounds. I can't remember. Sometime when I was in high school, they got real strict with. You had to have passing grades to be in any kind of extracurricular stuff. So anyway, Mr. Job gave me an extra credit assignment. I had to write a big paper in Spanish, and I had to work really hard to do it. But
And you're
I
half
did it.
Hispanic, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
Oh, true.
I know.
I'm full Hispanic. I don't know hardly any Spanish. Trust me. You can ask Lisa.
Yeah, I can understand it when I'm around my family, but I can't speak it hardly at all. Mona's much better than me, so.
Well, I never remember your mom speaking Spanish to y'all. No,
she didn't. No, I wish she would have.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been very valuable for you to
Yeah,
learn. So
absolutely.
so you got into theater your freshman year, and you were in it all the way through high school, right? Until you graduated.
Yeah.
What was your favorite play or performance? Do you have one that really just jumps out that like you really loved, like immersing yourself in that?
Yeah, there's a play called Flowers for Algernon that I mentioned earlier, and it was my senior UIL play, and I got the lead role. And UIL is a 45-minute play, and the story is the character is mentally mentally retarded. I don't know what the proper word is, but that he was incapacitated completely, needed a teacher around him all the time with speech and helping him learn. He was like a child. And then they started to do an experiment on a rat called Algernon, and the rat started getting really smart. So they inject this character with the same serum, and he starts getting really smart. He takes over the whole thing, the whole program. So I go from mentally incapacitated to super genius, and then I realize in the story the character realizes that Algernon's losing all of his mental capacity, the rat, so he knows he's going to also. And so I go back to being completely mentally incapacitated again. So 45 minutes, from one end to the other of the spectrum. And super challenging role. It's a famous play, Flowers for Algernon, and very challenging, but was probably my favorite play.
Almost sounds like
y'all win?
Yeah, actually, you know what happened that year? There was another school in Lubbock, and I can't remember which one it was. They also did Flowers for Algernon, and it was a different version. It was like a different cut of it, but actually that they won. So Flowers for Algernon beat out Flowers for Algernon.
I was going to say that it almost sounds like that movie with Robin Williams and Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
When Robert, their characters, they were just, they couldn't speak. They couldn't move. And then Robin was a doctor and injected this, I don't know what it was, but it woke him up basically.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, they all lost it. So
yeah, it might have been based on that play. It's a very famous play. So yeah.
Is there a production that you didn't like?
Not really, because I absolutely loved theater, and I loved all the people that I got to do theater with. I'm trying to think if there's one.
Well, while you're thinking, I'm going to throw you another question. You
Sure.
were in those roles. I mean, even as young as you were in high school, um, and you just mentioned how shy you were. When you were playing any role, did you feel like you just could really lose yourself and be somebody else? And that, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 I'd be terrified right before I got on stage. I mean, I had big time stage fright all through every single production, but I get up out there and just kind of lose myself in it. And Miss Spangler was just a fantastic theater director. She's now Dr. Spangler, and she's here in Abilene, and she runs the program at Hardin Simmons University. So I've spoken to her since then, and so, yeah, I just remember being terrified every time, but then I could get on stage and lose myself in the character. She gave me great roles too, so it was a lot of fun. She chose very good productions, especially for teenage kids, you know. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, it's cool. One of your, I guess, classmates, Michelle Meyer,
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
Gleinser, and Doug Woolley. They wanted me to mention a play called Chaos, or
Oh
bring that
no,
up.
yeah, it wasn't a play. It was actually, we called ourselves. I think, okay, so this is how I remember it. Miss Spangler was introducing herself our sophomore year. You know, she was our new theater director, and I think we had some kind of a get together. And she asked us all, "What do you want to do?" And I think it was Doug Woolley who suggested to six of us guys, "Hey, you know, when they tell you, when she asks you, you know, your name and what do you want to do, to say you want to cause chaos." So Doug Woolley went first, and he says, "My name's Doug Woolley and I want to cause chaos." It was a silly, you know, high school thing. But then we started calling ourselves the Chaos Crew, and there was like six of us guys, but then it kind of widened out to the whole theater class, and we just called ourselves the Chaos Crew. I don't know how much chaos we actually caused. I think we were pretty mellow, but it was fun. Yeah.
Oh,
How
cool. Yeah.
fun. I
Yeah.
know I thought of a really great question earlier while I was driving, and I at the age where if I don't write it down, I don't remember it. So
Hey, me too.
hopefully, as we're talking, it'll come back. It'll come back.
Well, Lisa mentioned stage fright. Was there
Mhm.
any time that you've kind of flubbed a line or made a mistake? And I mean, I assume it's
Mhm.
everyone does it. So, can you
Yeah.
remember a time when you did,
Oh,
and how'd you
yeah.
handle it?
Definitely. I mean, for me, I was so afraid of messing up a line. I would memorize the lines like they were the back of my hand. I mean, I was really, really good at memorizing lines. Uh, what happened more than me forgetting a line was Doug Woolley would always have us cracking up over something he did. Every time we did a production that he was in, he would do something different. And I remember, I think the film was called, um, goodness, I can't remember, but it was about the monkey trials, about the, you know, the Darwin monkey trials, you know, where
Okay.
he was arguing evolution, and they were trying to put him in jail for teaching evolution, and it was a play like that. If I remember right, Doug Woolley was the judge, and he had us laughing so hard that I had to actually duck behind people because I thought I was going to blow the whole play. So stuff like that more that I remember than actually flubbing a line. Yeah, I'm sure Doug could remember though. He would tell you.
Well, I've got some more surprises for you, Kenny.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. Yes.
Tell us about these photos.
Um. Yeah. I think that's flowers for Algernon. Yeah. And so that's my costume early on in the play, where I'm more like a child, even though I'm supposed to be an adult male, you know, adult man. And then I, you know, by mid story, I'm dressed more like a professor or a doctor, and then by the end, I've gone back to being a child again. So, yeah,
Oh, wow. Let me. I've
That's
yeah.
got. I've
awesome.
got another. Bear with me. I mean, by the way, you can thank your sister for these.
My sister has more photos than most families. Yeah. Okay. This was Juvie. This was a great play. We did this one in the Black Box Theater at Wayland. and I think this is juvie. Yeah, it looks like juvie. And so this was a fun play because it dealt with teenage issues, and there were a bunch of smaller stories within the bigger story. So we were acting all these smaller situations. It could have been anything from teenage love to addiction to abuse, that kind of thing. And each story was actually, some of them were pretty heavy, but what I loved about Miss Spangler's choices was that she chose stories that said something, it taught something, it made you think. And so that was a lot of fun.
It sounds like she
Okay.
also chose plays that play to your strength, to all the
Yes.
actors' strengths.
Yeah, she was really, really good at that. Still is actually. I taught a workshop at Howard Simmons University not long ago, and she's the same old Miss Spangler. She's just Dr. Spangler now. She's teaching, college students. Oh yeah, wow. Okay, let's see.
Oh my gosh, you look
Uh,
like a baby.
I know, and that's the thing. I did. I mean, pretty much all the way through high school. So they could cast me in a child role even as a junior. But that, I think, was the beginning of my junior year, believe it or not.
Damn, you're the Ralph Macchio of Plainview, huh?
Serious. I must
Wow.
be. Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
no. Let's
you
see.
could pass for like a fifth grader there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see at the Eastern. Oh, this is, I never saw another butterfly. One first division rating. Oh, this is actually my freshman year. I just didn't remember Kerry Kelly being there, but I guess he was. He was also there for my sophomore and junior year too. So yeah, so I would have been a freshman. That makes more sense. But yeah, I did look super young all the way through high school.
So
Yes.
what whenever you guys had these plays and you picked the actors,
Hmm.
of course you had to have a crew to to do all
Hmm.
the props and things. I mean, did y'all take turns,
Hmm.
or do you just have like specific people to do that all the time?
Um, the way it worked was you would audition for the roles, and I always auditioned for a role. And if you didn't get a role, then you were usually backstage or building sets or building props or doing lights or sound or any of those. And so I can't remember doing lights or sound very often because I really loved the acting. And Ms. Spangler, I would audition, and she usually had a role, like you said, already picked out for me. But I do remember we also sponsored the lip sync contest for 2 years. I think it was my junior and senior year, and that opened it up to the whole school. And we had a ton of people enter into this thing. We'd fill the whole auditorium with kids, and we had the music playing, and they'd be lip syncing to whoever it was, Metallica or Cyndi Lauper or whoever they had chose. And on that one, I actually ran the lights, so that was a lot of fun. That was probably the one or two times I can remember being behind the scene.
I'm sorry, did you say it was a contest or just people
Yeah,
just okay?
no, it was a contest. Yeah, we awarded, and it was just my last 2 years, and each year they awarded one of the acts, first prize, first, second, third prize.
That would have
How
been cool.
fun. How fun.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned about Mona being really supportive and your parents being supportive. Did they
Uh-huh.
go? I mean, did they help you practice your lines at home?
No, what's funny is I was super private about that. That's when I would stand in front of a mirror and, recite my lines just over and over and over again. But I do remember this one time we did a melodrama, and that's the kind of play where it's very over the top. There's the hero, there's the damsel in distress, and then there's the villain. And in this particular melodrama, I was the villain, and it was very old school melodrama over the top. So I'd grab the damsel and I would try to kiss her, and she'd go, no, no, no. Well, Miss Spangler invited the audience because it was in the small theater. We sold popcorn, and they could throw popcorn and yell at the villain, and they could cheer on the hero. And so my mom came to that, and I kid you not, she yelled at me so loud. That's when I almost forgot my lines multiple times because I could hear my mom going, "Don't believe him. He's a liar." And she's throwing popcorn. And then she crumpled up the popcorn, the little bag, and she threw it at me. And afterward, and Miss Spangler thought that was the greatest thing ever. She had the whole crowd going. They were cheering and booing and everything. Afterwards, I was like, "Mom, you're not allowed to come to this play ever again."
That's
You
funny. Your mom
embarrassed?
would do that.
Oh,
I
she just when she had the permission, she definitely took it. So
Oh
I
my
would have thought
gosh.
she would have, stopped people from throwing things at you.
no, oh
Don't shit at
no,
my son.
no, she was instigating it.
Like a good mom should. So during
Yeah.
that, so Kenny, during that time, like let's say June, by the time you were junior or senior, did you have the acting bug to the point where you're like, okay, I think I want to make a go of this in
Yeah,
Hollywood?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I joined the Marine Corps expecting to use the GI Bill to go to acting school. And you guys know back then we didn't have the internet. You had to send off for all the different, books and pamphlets and everything. And I was looking at Tisch in New York, and I was looking at the American Acting Academy in LA. And I thought I wanted to go to the American Acting Academy. And so my plan was just to join the Marine Corps, do my time, and then get out and become an actor. As life would have it, Desert Shield, Desert Storm started, and the next thing you know, I'm at war.
Oh
you don't
wow.
you don't think about that whenever you signed up for the military. At least back then, we had been in a Cold War for almost 2 decades, and so yeah, so I find myself at war, and that's the Germantown. That's the ship that we went over to Desert Shield, Desert Storm in, and lost a couple of my friends. We lost about 11 of us during the war. I was in light armored recon, so my unit was far, far forward of the battle line. Reporting back what we saw, and we saw a lot of action. But I got back, and that's when I met my wife, and we got married and had my first boy. And as life would have it, that delayed my journey into the entertainment industry for about 20 years. I wasn't. I didn't get in until I was 41, and so
Wow.
I've only been in for about 14, 15 years now.
Dang.
What did you
Yeah.
Now,
do?
who was
What
the
did you
other?
do during the interim? I'm sorry, Flo.
Yeah. Let's see. I was a youth pastor. I was a senior pastor. I started a business in Austin, Texas, a swimming pool cleaning business. I was just a pool boy for a while, but that business exploded. It's still going. I haven't worked for it since 2011, but I'm still a partner in it, and collect passive income from that. And honestly, that's what is allowed to jump into the entertainment industry without any worries. I don't have to make money in films. And that's probably the biggest challenge to most young people getting into the entertainment industry, whether it's as a filmmaker or an actor. It's that income is never guaranteed. It's that fighting for those roles, doing the waitressing jobs you always hear, or waiter jobs, while you're trying to make it. And so I avoided all of that by having a career beforehand. So
Oh, cool. I was
yeah.
going to mention there was who's that Marine that is a famous actor now? Adam.
Yeah, Adam Driver. Yeah.
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 Driver. He was
Uh-huh.
a Marine.
Yeah.
Started.
Yeah, he exact same thing. Yeah, he was in the Marine Corps, but he got out and went straight into acting. Obviously, has had a very successful career. But yeah, so that's just how it happened for me. I tell young people all the time, if you're going to get into the entertainment industry, it's not that you have a fallback plan, but that if you can have a good, steady, um, business or a job or something you can do, you can at least have something you enjoy doing while you're trying to pursue your acting or filmmaking career, because it's such a competitive industry, and it really is. Uh, it's a very tough industry, to get into. I
Oh,
often feel
absolutely.
bad. I'll get auditions for The Keeper. We had 7,000 actors submit auditions for about 35
Wow.
roles.
Wow.
And of course, our casting director pares that down to the best of the best, or the ones she thinks that we wanted to see. And so I actually only look at 200 to 300 of them. But yeah, um, it's very competitive.
Well, it's so did I guess you had to get a job, but did GI Bill help you a little? I mean, I guess it helped you to start a business.
Yeah, yeah, I know I never ended up using the GI Bill.
Okay.
Yeah, I lost it completely. Back then, it was like $10,000. Now it's much more robust. But
How
back
far of a rank did you go,
a sergeant E5.
Sergeant? Okay.
Uh-huh.
All
Yeah.
right.
And did you only
Yeah.
serve 4 years? And by the way, thank you for your
Yeah, I was gonna say
service.
that. Thank you for
Uh,
you know.
yeah, no problem. Yeah, I actually had signed up for 6 years, and so I did a full 6 years. Yeah.
Any of your buddies go with you? Any of your friends?
Doug Woolley is the one that recruited me. He was a year ahead of me, and he came back looking all confident and good in his dress blues and talked me into joining. And honestly, I look back, and Doug Woolley was always a confident guy. He was a football player, and he kind of stood out in our little theater group as being cool and popular. But I remember he came back, and really the confidence caught my eye, and I remember thinking, um, sometimes I wondered how confident was I really, especially getting up on stage and always being afraid. And I remember thinking I could use a little of that. I'll join the Marine Corps, And so next thing you know, 6 years in the Marine Corps. But it did. I enjoyed my time. Other than the war, I really enjoyed my time in the
Did
Marine
you
Corps.
travel anywhere else besides the Middle East?
Yeah, well, a lot of places there, and on the way back, of course, you hit Hawaii and Thailand and Okinawa and the Philippines and Singapore, Oman, Dubai, Bahrain. We hit all those places.
And you
Yeah.
guys were, if you're 18, 19, those are legal to drink, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, and on ship, it's illegal to drink, and on most bases, it's legal to drink. So yeah, I drank way too much.
I don't
Well,
think there's alcohol in Dubai.
No, there wasn't.
No.
But oddly enough, there was, because the Americans had just saved Dubai from being taken over by Saddam Hussein, because he was going to cross into Saudi Arabia and go into the UAE. There were some westernized hotels that they allowed to open up their bars to us while we were there. They just had to curtain it all off, and so
Interesting.
they made some exceptions for us. So
is there
yeah.
any movies that are out there about the Gulf War that it portrays like, oh, I mean, uh, the war, the way
Um,
that it went?
there's only a handful, and for the most part, the war was very successful, exceptionally successful. The general Schwarzkopf did an amazing job keeping us alive. I just happened to be part of a unit that just saw a lot of the action that happened. Um, and I can't remember. There was one film with, I can't remember the actor's name. Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake.
Yes.
Jake Gyllenhaal was in it. And I can't remember the name of the movie, but it did an okay job of portraying kind of the boredom of war. And that for the most part, once Desert Storm came, a lot of the Saddam Hussein's and the Republican Guard, his armies were surrendering, and that portrayed a lot. The story I like to tell someday is the story of the Battle of Khafji, where my friends were killed. And I'm already working on that script. And it was actually in Desert Shield. It was before Desert Storm. It was when Iraq sent 50,000 troops over, and there was around 3,000 Marines to hold them off. And very few people know that story. And so
Oh,
that's the
wow.
story I like to tell. Yeah.
Wow.
How many
Okay, so
Marines were they?
3,000 against around 50,000. Yeah.
Jesus. Almost
Yeah.
like that. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And of course we had superior air support and all that stuff, and that all helped us to hold them off. But yeah, there's a lot of battles I think in history that a lot of people don't know about, and that's the great thing about movies and storytelling is we get to tell those stories and kind of bring light to and just let people know kind of what happened. And and I'm the same. I'm a movie fan too. I'm not just a movie maker. I'm a movie fan, and I'm always surprised that when I see a good movie, I'm like, especially a historical thriller or something like that. That I'm always surprised uh, that it happened. Because you just don't hear about all those stories. So
You said one word that made me remember my question.
yeah,
It's about storytelling. You mentioned
yes,
earlier that when you were a kid, you had a really big imagination.
hmm
And that's what movie making is
hmm
really stepping into that part of your brain that wants to tell a story in a really dynamic and vibrant way. And you really brought what you're doing now in your career is bringing that part of your childhood to fruition,
hmm
bringing that
uh,
creativity to life.
Yeah, I agree. And I think about that a lot. Yeah, all those childhood times I was sitting at the couch with my, Star Wars figures, making up stories. I mean, that really is what storytelling is. And it's my favorite part. It's why I ended up going from actor to producer and director. I love acting and I love actors, but actors have very little say in the overall story. They're literally brought in, they do their scene, they're there for a day or two, depending on their role. They do their part of the total story and they're gone and they have no say in how it turns out. It could be a great movie, or it could be an awful movie that they just said yes to and acted in. And then so I started producing first, and that producer is basically a project manager for a movie. They're the ones that find the script, they take it, they get money behind it, they'll attach a director, sometimes they'll attach actors to it, and they shop it to either studios or independent, or if it's independent like I have been most of the time, I get excuse me, get investors behind it, and we make a movie. But then the director, and I got into directing about 2 years ago with Angus Benfield, and the director shapes the story itself, and that gets down to the crux of what we're talking about. Is they're the ones that are in charge of taking the blueprint, the script, and stewarding that blueprint and creating the story, and it will look like the director wants it to look, good or bad. And that's why you get great movies and sometimes you get horrible movies and everything in between. It really is up to the director. So that's been the most fun. And as a director, I get to work with the actors, which I just love actors. So
And
You
so
really
between
mean that?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, I really do. I mean, I haven't worked with any prima donnas for the most part. Only well here and there, but usually I can as a Marine, I can get them into shape.
How
So
tall are you? How tall are you, by the
I'm,
way?
I'm, I'm 6 foot
Oh,
exactly.
that's big enough, man. That's big
Yeah,
enough
yeah,
to intimidate them.
yeah.
you weren't 6 foot in high school.
No, I
No.
know. I didn't get 6 foot until probably after high school, honestly. Yeah.
That's funny.
Wow, wow. Well, I mean,
So
because neither one of your parents were big.
no, they
So,
weren't.
well, let me ask you this about entering the industry at a
Mhm.
older age. Do you feel that that gave you an advantage? Like you came into it older with more life experience, a greater
Yeah,
level of maturity.
yeah.
You've been in a war. Do you feel like coming into the industry not green? I mean,
hmm
green in terms of the industry, but
hmm
not in terms of your maturity. That gave you an advantage, a different
Absolutely.
perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's why I was able to jump in at 41 and already be a producer and director. Just, probably 7 years in, I was already producing and directing. And yeah, exactly as you said, it's just what takes most young filmmakers time, what they spend their most time with, building that life experience. Every once in a while you'll get a young director in Hollywood, but it's very rare. You'll see a lot older directors because older directors carry that life experience, and they think in options. At least I do. I think in options. There's so many ways we could tell. There's 100 ways we can tell this story. Which one is going to connect the most with the audience? Which one is going to speak the message that we're trying to speak, or ask the question we're trying to ask? As a director, if I can leave the audience with a question that I have not answered in the movie, I feel like I've succeeded, because it gets, my role as a storyteller is to just get the audience thinking about whatever the topic is.
Sure, you want it to
Yeah.
be provocative in some way, whether it's
Yeah.
emotional or mental or that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the industry, but being a director seems like a really big leadership role. Like, you've got to have good people
Mhm.
skills, a great vision,
Right.
managerial skills, and and seeing the bigger picture. How fascinating! I want to be a director.
Yeah. Yes.
Don't forget the budget.
Yes, exactly. The budget's always the biggest obstacle to overcome. But yeah, no, it's exactly all those things as you said, and I think those are things you develop over time, through maturity. And so I was able to step into some of these roles that I would have waited decades for. I was able to step into them sooner. So yeah, that maturity definitely helped.
Can you
Cool.
share some of the stuff that you actually acted in? Some of your first acting
Um,
experiences?
yeah, oh gosh, there's only been a handful. I did a couple of short films early on. Um, so they were real small, random roles. But let me think. The first feature film, I did some acting in a documentary where they do recreations of what's happening in the documentary. You know how they'll
Mm-hmm.
have a talking head talking about something, and then there are recreations. Well, this is a little bit funny, but I'm going to tell you guys anyway. It's a little bit embarrassing, but I'll tell you anyway. Um, this one was on sex trafficking, which was a really good documentary, but they also needed the bad guys for the recreations. And so I actually played, and this one was talking about how prostitution leads into sex trafficking sometimes. And so I auditioned for this role, and I think the role was sex buyer number 5.
Oh
And
my
I was thinking,
gosh.
yeah, can you believe that? And so, and most of it's, you're acting, there's not many lines, you're recreating what they're talking about, and that kind of thing. So I did, well, I must have did really good, because I got promoted to sex buyer number 1, and that documentary's toured all over the world. And so,
Oh God, this guy really looks the part.
yeah, I
Oh
was like,
wow.
after I got the role, I was like, am I that creepy? What,
It
what's
has
going
it
on?
has to do a lot with the mustache.
Yes, yeah, I do. I have this. I do. Hey, I played a lot of villains in high school, to be fair, so I must have a villain look about me. I'm not sure.
So do you ever, when you play the villain now or back after high school, are you
Uh,
like dodging to make sure your mom's not out there throwing stuff at you?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, did
yeah.
anybody
No,
reach out and say, "Are you a registered sex offender?" And what's
yeah.
going on?
I had a costume designer that I'd worked with in the area, and she went to the premiere. I wasn't even there, but she went to the premiere, and she said, "Kenny, it it was really tough watching you in that role, because I know how nice
Yeah.
you are, but you did a really good job." I was like, "Oh,
Well,
thank you."
I don't mean to interrupt, but let's
Yeah,
go back to Miss Spangler.
yeah.
How much she influenced you? And before you say anything, once you go ahead and just say it to her.
Hey, Victoria.
Hey, oh my
How you
God.
doing?
Oh,
It's so funny, because I was just thinking about telling you today that I was going to be on the podcast, and I
oh,
didn't.
oh, he already got to me months ago. Months ago.
Yeah,
That's
she was hard to
awesome.
track down. I mean, she really was. So, but we
Surprise!
connected, and then here you are. So let's talk about Kenny as the actor.
Oh, well, let me say, I mean, he was a standout, very, very funny. First thing, remember the good doctor, the drown
Oh
man?
yeah.
Yeah, good doctor, the drown man. Very funny, dry little part, but he also, um, oh, he just did so many things. But I think Charlie and Flowers for Algernon was really one of the very best things. And I don't know if you know, I don't know if you guys, if you know Flowers for Algernon, but he plays this young man that is severely mentally challenged. It's a really old story, old movie, and but beautifully written. And there's a test, there's a procedure that they can do that looks like they're doing it on mice first, and the mouse is named Algernon, and that's his pet mouse. And as the mouse starts to run the maze and learn the maze and get sharper and smarter, the same thing starts happening with Charlie because he's having that test too. And it's he's reading, he's becoming almost genius like. Then the mouse starts to decline, and it's declining in its mental abilities and also the physical abilities. So Charlie sees that's what's happening to him as well. And so the mouse Algernon eventually dies, and Charlie buries him, and he wants these flowers, for this mouse, for Algernon. And he doesn't die in the play, but you get the idea that that's what's going to happen. At any rate, we did a one-act version of that, and it was so beautiful. It was just beautifully done. And something I still tell students, told them just this past semester in a theater education class, and we were talking about one-act play, and critic judges. And I said, when we did Flowers for Algernon, because one of my students actually, she did Flowers for Algernon as her project, cutting it. It's a monster of a play to cut. And I said, when we did this, and I said, and Kendall Bryant, that taught you that self-tape class, he was Charlie. And she was in that self-tape class, and she was like, really? And I said, yes. And I said, something I've never forgotten, that a critic judge said, see if you remember this. She said, I'm not going to tell you all the wonderful things you did today because you want to know why you're not advancing. And I'm going to talk with you about that. And you said, Kenny, you said, after we got back on the bus and the kids were yelling, we're crying. It's like, I can't believe she said that. And you said, I really respect her for that because that's what we wanted to hear. We didn't want to hear all of the wonderful, she may have said some good things too, and it was a very good play, but we don't want to hear all of, oh my gosh, this was so great. This was excellent. This was blah, 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 blah. But you're not advancing. We want to know, what did we do? And she told you. She told us these were some things. And I've told that story many times because as a student, you were disappointed, but you respected her honesty with going, this is where you fell short today for the future. Do you remember that?
As you're talking about it, I do, but I didn't remember that until you start talking about it. But I do remember that judge.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was disappointing. It's funny because those moments prepare you for later in life. It could be a tough industry, and so it helps you for later in life. And it also helped me, just as a actor and as a director, look for the genuineness in the story, and the genuineness in the portrayals. And, those things stick with you. They're all part of your journey. So that's awesome that you told that story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Forgot about
Well,
that.
that was just one of those moments that I've told my students too. I said, I've been on the bus when they're happy, and I've been on the bus when they're crying. And happy is better, but when you can say, this is, let's look at it honestly, And so I still remember that about you as a 17-year-old, that wisdom and that maturity to say, I respected that. And but yeah, Kenny could do whatever role, whether it's comedy or whether it was a drama, a heavy piece like that, whether it was a lead or supporting role. He was a joy, an absolute joy to work with.
Well, I want to ask Kenny, did she allow any, like what do you call it, ad libbing, or did help? Did you like, hey, maybe this line's better? I mean,
Um, I I don't know that I remember specifically. I do remember that Dr. Spangler, Victoria, was just an amazing teacher that I respected the most of all my teachers, quite honestly, and made the most impact in my life. Like I have been telling you guys, how much theater has changed my life. Um, but I remember her being very, very decisive. She knew what she wanted, and she came in very, very prepared. And she picked amazing stories to tell, amazing plays. And so I was always just excited to be a part of it. And when she directed us, knew that when she directed us, she knew what she was doing. So as I remember it, we did our best to do exactly what she told us.
Thank you. I mean, I'm directing the show right now. We're in our second rehearsal tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I don't know what I'm doing.
Same.
Well, Kenny's right down the road. I mean, he'll be there in about 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been doing this a while, but I think also the older you get and the more you're around, the more
Mm-hmm.
the more you realize you don't know nothing, and
Yes.
you were so kind, Kenny. I
Mm-hmm.
was really young. I was very young. I was 26, 27,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved you guys. I loved Plainview. I loved that classroom. I dream about that classroom. I dream
Yes,
about
me
that
too.
job.
I do
dream
too.
So what's so good about it, guys? What's so good about that classroom?
That was it was an old part of it was an old classroom, or seemed to be. It was kind of in that fine arts wing, but it was tiered and it was a hardwood floor and it had a little stage in the classroom.
Stage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you could just walk right across the hall and then you were on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And we had nice makeup rooms. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember they had a guys' makeup room and a girls' makeup room, and there were no lights like around the makeup mirrors. And I remember asking and I liked Pam too, the teacher that was there before I did, and I said, why are there no lights? She goes, they'll break those bulbs. And I said, okay, well, can I try? And she goes, you can try, but they'll break those bulbs. And so we got new bulbs. Nobody broke the bulbs. And we taught makeup,
Yeah.
and masks. And
Mm-hmm.
when you're young, you're like, okay, let's get out the I don't know, it was kind of like a fiber mache kind of stuff. And I think
Oh
now,
yeah.
what a mess that was to try to do in 50 minutes. But I did it. When you're young, you don't know if something's hard. You just do it because that'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Yes.
loved that time there.
What was your first year there? What year did you start in Plainview?
hmm Let me think. 87,
87.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
the fall of
You
87.
missed Lisa and I by 4 years.
Yeah,
You
because
know
I was in
what?
theater my freshman year, but we graduated in 83, so we were
Okay.
long gone by the time you got there.
Um, you know, the other day when we were talking, I mentioned Alex Glass. No, that Jerry Don George. That's who I meant. That was the principal when I got there, Mr. George.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jerry Don George. Alex
Mhm.
Glass was a vice principal, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Mr. George. And then I do remember Mr. McBee
Mm-hmm.
and Al Griggs. These were some of those count deans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you came in at a time where there were quite a few young teachers in Plainview. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lisa Kirsch was young.
Yes, I remember her.
Charles C.
Yeah,
Dixon.
Charles C. Dixon. There was another. There were a few teachers that were pretty young that were around your age, in the 20s during
hmm
that
Wasn't
time.
Mrs. Carlisle a drama teacher? Leslie Carlisle? She was with Mrs. Dixon and
I don't know.
I don't think
oh
she
Not.
was
no, maybe she
no.
was choir.
Yeah, maybe so, but I don't think she was drama.
Walter Wright. Wasn't that the choir teacher? Right? Walter Wright?
I don't know. Back then, I mean,
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we didn't do musicals, so I didn't have a lot. He was a nice enough guy. We just didn't do musicals, so I didn't have a lot to do with him.
So when you came up with these plays, was it you that chose them, or that you talked with the students and asked them for their opinion? And then another part of the question as well is, what about the school? Did you have to get approval from Mr. George or someone?
Um, I'm sure that for the one acts, they wanted to read them. I think they did. I don't know how much he actually read them. I think they just want to make sure it's not going to offend the moral sensibilities of the community. Um, I was just reading plays and suggesting, oh, well, this looks good. Or sometimes, and it was young, I didn't know. So I was looking at things I already knew or something I had done or something I had seen. And then for suggestions from, I remember one of my friends that was also a drama teacher. She said, well, I was like, I don't know what to do about one act. She goes, well, if you need a really strong guy and a really strong girl, you should look at Flowers. And I had a strong girl with Angie Siegler, and I had a strong guy with Kenny. I said, then, because I didn't want to do a 15 cast play. I want to do something smaller. And so that's what we did. But I don't remember, I never did anything that was daring that I can recall being like, oh, hope nobody I picked things I knew that the students could approach and that I knew that the school would not frown on.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to ask this. Are there any current plays now or the last 10 years that Kenny would have done very well in? And Kenny, and if question is same to you. Is there any plays that now that you think you've done well?
In high school or now?
Now. I mean, plays now, but
current plays,
current plays,
current
productions, yes.
Current productions that I'd like to direct Kenny in now?
Yes.
that you think he would excel at.
Yes.
Like,
gosh.
Is there a particular role or a particular theater play that you think he would be good at today?
Like Hamilton or.
It would need to be a non-singing role.
Okay.
I think, gosh, I mean, there's so many things. I think, to me, I think a good strong drama. I think something like, I could see him in a play. There's a play called The Shadow Box, that I could see you as Joe in The Shadow Box. There are, but that's what I mean. But you're funny too. You could do some really funny stuff as well. I'd love to see you in a farce, in something like one of those, like Ken Ludwig, Moon Over Buffalo, kind of, or Lend Me a Tenor, some extravagant characters, somebody that would be way up over the top, then ends up getting his comeuppance. But you always had such natural timing and such great facial expression. But I also think you're a director.
Yeah.
I think you're a fine actor, but I think you have the heart of a director and the vision of a director.
Yeah.
What about
Thank you.
Kenny?
That's very kind. What do I think I could be in? Oh gosh. It's funny because now that I see actors and because I have to see their self-tapes all the time, I don't envy them anymore. It is such a hard job and it's so incredibly vulnerable that, I have the highest respect. Yeah, I don't know. I sometimes I think that if I could have landed a really good sitcom, that would have been fun. Like a Friends or The Office or something like that. One of those roles, I think that could have been really fun, and I would have really enjoyed that. But yeah, I really do enjoy directing now, and just really shaping the entire story and working with the actors and story are like this. You can't separate the two, and so I really enjoy shaping the story with the actors and collaborating with them, because a good actor will sit there and talk to you about character and talk to you about story and tell you, can I try this? Or if a line's not working, can we try to change this line to this? And I love that kind of stuff. That's my favorite, is when we discover, on set, you have it in your mind what you think it's going to end up like, but but when you get that take that was completely outside of what you had imagined, those are the most fun to me. So
Yeah.
Well,
don't
we
let
don't want to keep.
don't,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, don't let Victoria fool you, though. She is an amazing actress in her
Thank
own
you.
right, and she does community theater here in Abilene. And I just saw her in the lead female role on the play On Golden Pond,
Oh, wow.
and man,
Really
she
proud.
was amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Do you think,
yeah,
would you ever be interested in doing any community theater?
I've thought about it many times. Yeah, I have many times. I would love to do it. It's, for me, it's kind of a time issue. It's always, once you commit to a play, and if a movie came up, I would
Oh,
be stuck.
right.
So,
Well, do you need an agent, Kenny? I can help you out. I can.
yeah,
Well, this,
perfect.
I got to be on the play reading committee for the coming year, and they always have great plays, but they got some good stuff coming up. So just think about it. Wouldn't it be fun if we got to be in a play together?
Oh, that'd be so much fun.
So
We'll be
if
there.
that happens, we will be there.
We'll be
that would
there.
be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that-
we'll
yeah.
tell you.
Well, hey, I don't
Victoria,
wanna
you
keep
could
you
certainly-
long.
You could certainly play a Cyndi Lauper impersonator.
Yes, I was thinking that, but I wouldn't want to keep you long because I need you got to go back to rehearsal. So Kenny, you want to say last one thing about Victoria, how she influenced you in your
Yeah.
career?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Vicky, for everything. And it's been a pleasure, just staying in touch with you all these years,
Absolutely.
and how we still get to do stuff together.
I love
And
that.
yeah,
And I love the fact that you came and taught my students. And
that was so much fun.
I want you to come back and do it again.
Yes, that'd be a blast.
So
Cool.
Thank you so
guys.
much.
Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you so
Thank
much.
you. This was an honor. Thank you for asking me to do this. Kenny, you're one of my very favorite people in my heart.
You're the same for me.
We'll have you on. I spoke to you about having your own show, so we'll schedule you sometime in April, and hopefully that should be you should be finished with your play,
Yes.
correct? In
Yeah.
April?
It opens February isn't that bad? 11, something like that. February, it's a Thursday, 11, 12, 13, 14. Maybe it's 12, 13, 14, 15.
What's the name
Yes,
of the
it
play?
closes on Super Bowl Sunday. It's called Marvin's Room.
Okay.
Marvin's Room.
Well, good luck. Break a leg.
Good luck. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you guys. Bye,
Bye.
Kenny.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So, yeah, a little surprise there, huh?
Yeah, that was amazing. I really, most influential teacher by far in my life. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, let's get into your current.
Mhm.
I want to talk to you about this movie. Where did it go? Bear with me. Here we go. You mentioned it earlier, The Keeper.
Mhm.
So, this is you and your staff, and then the guy
Yeah.
to your left, two guys to the left. That's
Yeah.
Angus Spinfield.
Yeah.
How did you hook up with him? How'd
In
that
that
friendship?
In that same movie that I was sex buyer number 1, he was, sex buyer number 2 or something. And so we were on set. Yeah, he played another really hard scene. Again, the documentary is really good, and it really does a good job of confronting sex trafficking. So, I always used to tell my students, I taught at the college level up in Redding, California for a couple of years. I used to say, you want great villains, but you don't want them to actually be villains. You want great actors that can play the villain so convincingly that you show the darkness to amplify the light. And it's true in every story. You have the best stories have the greatest villains. And so we were both playing villains in that film, and we got to talking between scenes, and he said, hey, I got these small independent movies that I want to get done. Do you want to help me produce them? And I started helping him produce on a little film called Yellow Bird. And then I told him I'd like to direct. And he says, well, why don't you direct The Keeper with me? So we co-directed The Keeper. And of course, it made sense being that I had a military background and it's a military film. And the guy in between us is the real George Eshelman. He's the one that carried 360 3 names on name tapes attached to his backpack all along the Appalachian Trail, and brought to bring awareness to suicide, military suicide. Of course, he was struggling with his own suicidal tendencies, and that's what the story is all about. And so, yeah, Angus brought me on. I co-directed that, produced and co-directed that with him. And then the next movie we did together was Stan the Man. And then we did another thriller called The Deprogrammer that hasn't released yet.
Yeah. So when you guys were disagreeing on things, did you bust his balls and say, "Hey, I got promoted over you in that documentary. Don't forget, I was number 6, and I jumped over you to number 1." You ever remind him that?
Yeah. I'm the better creepy guy. Yeah, exactly.
It was. How much of that Appalachian Trail that you guys actually that he actually walked? I mean, during the filming.
We shot all the way from Maine to Georgia, but we would hit small sections. We wanted it to be true to the hikers that actually know the Appalachian Trail. And so they know those spots. So we tried to coordinate the shoot, hitting the start of the trail up in Maine. We hit a couple of spots in between that we knew that the hikers would know. And then at the very end, we're in Georgia where it ends. And so, yeah, all along the trail, we shot over 21 days. So it was quick, very, very quick.
A budget like for a movie like this, do you mind me asking what it was?
It should have been $1 million. It was 150,000. So
Holy
really? How'd you manage that?
I didn't take pay. A lot of people didn't take pay. We had a lot of veterans involved that are actually in the movie. Most of these people that you see in the movie, in fact, both of those guys there were veterans, and a lot more. And so a lot of people were donating their time because it was the kind of movie that had a real cause behind it. And so they just cared about it. And a lot of times these little movies don't make money. We got a theatrical release, which is pretty rare for a movie this small. So it was a real honor to get a theatrical release. It was limited, but we got into several theaters across the United States. And but a lot of these little movies go straight to streaming. And if people don't know about them, they don't see them. And there's some really great gems out there, really good movies, in that lower price range that passionate people told great stories.
That a lot of the movies that I watch, even in the blockbusters, I mean, you could figure out the ending. I'm like,
Right.
this is going to happen. And I watched this movie and it blew me. I'm not going to, people may want to still watch this. I'm not going to spoil it, but it blew me away. The ending blew me away. I was like, wow, did not expect that. I did not.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was a very good movie. I enjoyed it. And, and it's sad that this is really happening with our veterans, the ones that go to war.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Let me.
I haven't watched it yet, but I want to. But so you talked about a limited theatrical release. Who in the production team pitches to theaters to try to get it released in theaters?
It's usually one of the producers. In this case, it was Angus and his wife. And they did a good job of finding a company that they're called aggregates. They actually are the stand between theaters and the production company. And they found aggregate, and the aggregate was expecting us to be another indie movie that was going straight to streaming. But they watched it and they said, wow, this is really good. We think this could actually get a theatrical run. And they fought for it. So, and the way you fight for it is you have to convince the theaters to give up screens, especially when big blockbusters are going on. They want as many screens going with the blockbusters as possible. So they would find us screens here and there across the United States. It did really well. Yeah. And it's doing even better in streaming, and the word's getting around, and a lot of people, veterans for sure, but a lot of people are watching it. So.
Well, let's talk about this one here, and you mentioned it too all ago. Stan the Man. I watched this movie too. It was good.
Yeah, that was fun. We shot that one in Midland, Texas, And it was because one of the producers grew up in Midland, and she pulled all kinds of favors. We got the high school football team, the cheerleaders, and we just turned them into our stories team. And we got the junior high football players, and all the scenes with the football players. We tried to hide it, but it's all the same players. We just switched uniforms over and over and over again.
That's funny.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
How long did this one take to film?
That was about the same. It was close to 21 days, and I want to say 14 shoot days. So shoot days, a lot of times you'll shoot during the week, and you'll give either Saturday or Sunday off to the crew. And that's our team. That was the actual locker room at the school. And it was a school that our producer Emily had gone to. She had talked to the coaches. She got the crowds there. For very limited small crowds. So we had to shoot really close up, and then we fill in the crowds with special effects afterwards. But this was my second solo directing. I directed that other film called The Deprogrammer right before this. So we had shot The Keeper, The Deprogrammer, and Stan the Man within a 4-month period.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you lose a lot of sleep?
Oh, I didn't sleep hardly at all. It went from my directorial debut to then my first solo direction, and then this was my third film. And this film, we talk about getting stage fright and that kind of thing. There's a thing in the industry called imposter syndrome. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it.
No.
But
oh yeah.
It's that feeling that I shouldn't be here, and I shouldn't be the director, and what are they doing? Why are they trusting me with this? I had huge imposter syndrome on The Keeper in the beginning, but by Stan the Man, I actually kind of got my directorial legs under me, and I was feeling pretty confident about, guiding that story. So I even saw a shift in myself within that 4 months. So
wow.
Yeah,
So
it was a lot of fun.
when you're shooting in a condensed amount of time, like 21 days,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are you working round the clock?
It's 14 to 16-hour days. Yeah, every day. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and my crew's working even harder. They get there before me, they leave after me. I step in. My job is to guard the story, like I've said, and so I'm sitting in front of a screen, just making sure that we got the story. I'm editing the thing in my brain. I know that script better than anybody else, and I'm making sure, along with my first assistant director, making sure we got every scene, that we've covered everything that we need for the story. And so, it's super, super intense.
So are you making notes along the way?
Yeah. I'm making notes. I have a script supervisor. Script takes notes for me. So I'll tell her I like that take, or I think the sound might have been messed up in that take. We might have to do, ADR. That's where you record the audio after the fact and you put it in. So she's taking notes like that. And keeping me on track. She watches continuity. So if somebody's holding a cup in their right hand, she makes sure they don't switch to their left hand, that kind of thing. So I have a very good team around me. It is not at all a one-man show. It is a lot of very passionate people that love telling stories.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to end up in IMDb goofs.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so.
The reason I have this photo, I mentioned to you earlier off the air that this actor to the left, Cameron Arnett.
Yeah.
I've seen him in a couple other movies that I watched lately. He did The Forge.
Yep.
And Overcomer. And so I was like, oh wow, cool. And you got him to play was he the principal or superintendent? I forgot.
Principal. Yeah.
Principal,
principal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's a good actor.
He's a phenomenal actor, super, super fun to work with. Has been in a ton of stuff. When he was younger, he was in one of the Star Trek TV shows for a while. And he rode with me to the hotel on most days. And so I got a lot of time with him. Yeah, really, really great guy. And
cool.
Just every take he gave me was phenomenal. I got, to pick which one I liked the best because they were all great. But yeah.
He's good. I'm sorry. I was looking for my notes because there was at the end when Angus calls a certain play to like to win the game. That
Yeah.
scene reminded me of the Titans when they, when Denzel calls something, with the reverse Georgia reverse, whatever. And I
Right.
wrote that note, but I couldn't find it on my phone. I was
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but
There's lots of films that have inspired me. As storytellers, um, if you've ever written The Writer's Journey, Chris Vogler, the author of that book, talks about how stories are all the same, but it's the hero's journey, and there's steps in the hero's journey. And I love that idea that all stories are the same, but they're different. And stories have been told throughout time, throughout our human history, and how important they were to civilization. But yeah, I mean, I'm inspired by all kinds of movies. I don't remember with that scene. I remember in the script, in the very first scene when he calls a play, and I don't want to give away too much, but it ends up not working. They lose the game. I don't know if you caught it, but it's the exact same play. He
oh,
calls
is
the
it?
same. Yeah,
Oh
it's
no,
the
I didn't
same
catch
play.
that.
Yeah, he calls it two times. The difference is that he, instead of demanding it of his players, he tells them it's on me whether it
Yeah,
works or
yeah,
not. And so that was kind of that story.
yeah. You need to watch this one as well, Lisa. It's
Yeah.
another good
Okay.
movie. It's about a
Yeah.
coach
I love
struggling with.
watching movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has coach about struggling with addiction. So, but anyways, leave it at that. So,
I love movies with a message, that have
Yeah.
that tug at the heart and really showcase the being human, the human experience.
I'm telling you,
Versus,
watch The Forge. That thing made me cry
Hmm.
at the end. I'm very sensitive. I do cry when sad scenes in
Me
movies.
too.
But this one here, oh my god, I was bawling at the end.
the Forge,
But
it's called
Yeah.
The Forge.
The Forge,
Yeah.
yeah, and you'll
It's
see
a
that
really good movie.
Cameron Arnett, and then Overcomer. I watched that about a week ago, and
I
that's
haven't
another
seen
good
that
movie.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Uh,
he's in that as well.
yeah. Great.
Um, let's talk about the which one the worst. I don't know how much you
Uh,
can talk about the
yeah.
make the devil play that because when I first
Yeah.
talked to you about this by
Uh-huh.
coming on, you said you had to in November you had to go to Phoenix or to
Yes.
Arizona to shoot
Uh-huh.
this. So
Yeah.
can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Make the Devil Pay. And it's a writer named Emily Benz. And it's inspired by a true story of a lady uh, in the 70s who was severely abused by her father. And so Emily wanted to tell her story, but the lady was like, "Can you separate me from the story? Because a lot of these people are still alive." So we took the story, changed the names, and put it in the Old West. And the basic premise is that the father was real abusive, physically abusive, and he would even enter her into fistfights with grown men and bet against her. And this really happened here in a
Oh
little
my
town in
God.
Texas. Yeah. And so she got to be very, very tough. And when she grew up, he had hurt another family member, and she went to kill him. And she was determined to kill him. Luckily, she never found him by the grace of God. And much later in her life, they were estranged for years. He came to her and asked for forgiveness. And so, yeah, you'd have to watch the story to see what happens. But it's very redemptive. It's rough, it's gritty, and especially in the Old West, we have the guns and the explosions and the fight scenes and all that kind of stuff. But we got to shoot it on the Tombstone set in Arizona. And so it's the biggest film I've worked on so far. Um, we had to have special effects and fight coordinators and wranglers and horses and armors and guns shooting. It was such a blast, but by far the hardest film that I've worked on so
That's a
far.
lot of action in that one compared to
Yeah,
the other two. I mean, more
so
than
much
the
more.
Stand the Man.
Yes. Yeah, so much more. And I had to have so much more help. And we had some real professionals. I mean, not that we didn't on the other films, but we brought in some really great Hollywood experts in all those different fields. And really believe I have a gorgeous movie. It's probably the movie I'm most excited about so far, and every movie it kind of goes from one to the next, and I get excited about the next thing I'm working on. But man, the acting in this one was just over the top. I was just so
Oh, well, I've got some
pleased with,
pictures of
yeah,
that. Sorry. I'm
yeah,
listening to you and I forgot
yeah,
about the
yeah.
photos.
Yeah, I'm so pleased with the way this one turned out. I can't wait. We're in the middle of post production right now. Yeah, and we had young actors. We had the children when they were young, and then it jumps in time, and we have the children when they're older later in the movie. And so that picture with the two women, those are my partners. The three of us are Loonbird Films, and so the one right next to me is Shanna Francis Cheney, and then Emily Benz is the writer and co-director on this one. I invited her to direct this one with me, and both of them are fantastic, fun to work with.
How's the weather? I mean, you guys are wearing coats.
It was chilly. We were near Tucson actually, and we were up on this hill with just amazing vistas around us. We got the most amazing sunrises and sunsets every single day. But when the wind started blowing, and even from morning to evening, it would drop as much as 40 degrees. We would have a 70-degree day and then drop into freezing that evening. And when you're shooting a 14-hour day, you're feeling all of that. So
Cool.
Wow. So
yeah.
what continues to inspire you?
Um, that's a great question.
Well, I mean, do you ever just pause and think, oh my gosh, somebody pinched me? I'm actually living a dream. I mean,
Every day. Yeah,
yeah.
every day. I just got approached on another movie. It's a $30 million movie, and they're asking me to produce it. I mean, it's just one thing after another right now. And, you know, 2 weeks ago, I didn't even know I was working on this newest movie, and it's going to be a historical thriller involving Navy ships. Is another military true story that happened in 1975. And I was talking to the writer today about optioning the script. And so, yeah, I'm constantly pinching myself. But yeah, I am. I'm my dream. And, I was that young Kenny coming out of high school thinking I was going to conquer the acting world. And life throws you some curveballs, none of them bad, quite honestly. It just turned out different than I thought. And then at 41, I had the opportunity to jump into the entertainment industry. I met a couple of actors. One is David Naronia. He's been in over 100 episodes of TV, and he took me under his wing and started teaching me everything. And so, yeah, you can't write this stuff. You can't make it up. It's just amazing how these things happen. But
Is it easy to be in the industry, not living in California? I mean, to be so remote out in Abilene?
it is, because everything now is done on Zoom, even auditions. Now it's more self tapes than ever. And so I was actually, for Make the Devil Pay, we were casting in early October to film in November. I was in Switzerland at the time, and I was looking at self tapes in Switzerland and on Zoom calls in the middle of the night. So I'd be on the same time zone as Hollywood, and we were just doing it. We were figuring it out. So, um, it's not as hard as it used to be. And so many productions have moved to other places. Texas has an amazing film incentive now. Atlanta has had for a long time, Georgia, and a lot of other places,
Yeah,
Canada. So
Louisiana has been, I
yeah.
mean, for the last 30 years has been
Hmm.
attracting a
Yeah.
lot of great movies because I guess their taxes.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
And so it's not consolidated in Hollywood near as much as it was back in the 80s. When we grew up, it was all Hollywood in New York. So
all right, so what
Is
is
there
your
I'm sorry. Go
timeline?
ahead. Go
What's
ahead.
your timeline to be
well,
like for doing a huge blockbuster movie?
Well, if this movie, gets legs, that I'm working on currently, um, honestly, it could take a couple of years. Most movies, like uh, The Keeper, Stand the Man, I was working on both of those, and The Deprogrammer for at least 2 years from the time I picked it up to the time that it released. So all these projects, and then the bigger the budget, the longer it takes. So it could be anywhere from 2 to 4 years before I get
A Plainview boy. A
yeah.
Plainview boy. Look at this. Check him out. You need
I
to
know.
start
I'm
working on
saying.
your Oscar. What do you call it? Your Oscar
My
speech,
acceptance speech, yeah.
acceptance speech. You need to start working on it. What? Get in front of the mirror and work on it. Sorry,
Yeah.
Lisa. Go ahead.
Now, is there a producer or director that you dream of working with?
Um,
That you
well,
like collaborating with?
yeah, yeah. I always think of Mark Hamill because of my Star Wars days as a kid. Yeah, of course, he's more an actor than anything. George Lucas, of course, would be a dream. I guess my biggest dream, and I've told my wife this, if I could ever direct anything in the Star Wars universe, that I could die and
And
be happy.
hang
Yeah,
your boots.
And
yeah,
be
hang my
done.
boots. Yeah,
That's cool.
so that'd be
So
fun.
who's your Rush? What is it? Mount Rushmore of directors.
Huh, that's a hard question. There's I like all the ones that everybody appreciates, like James Cameron and you know, what's the guy that did Interstellar? I always forget his name. And Inception. Um, it'll come to me in a sec. But yeah, also the director of Social Network,
Oh
David
yeah.
Fincher. David Fincher. What I love about him is, he's known to be a director that does as many as 99, 100 takes on one scene, which I've never had that privilege. We're
Oh
always
wow.
moved, but he is so meticulous about his scenes, and I don't know that I need 100 takes, but I love the idea that the way he moves the camera and the way he tells the story is very methodical, and like this is a little bit geeky filmmaker stuff, but even if he moves the camera, he knows he can cut in at any point and it will be seamless because he moves the camera exactly the same way every single time. And so he'll even cut up, and I don't necessarily condone this, but he does this. He'll take an actor's performance and he'll take 5, 6, 10, 20 of them, and he'll piece them together if he needs to get the exact performance he wants. So what I respect about him is that he just knows his story, and he has it in his head how he wants it to turn out, and he does whatever it takes to get there. George Lucas, on the other hand, he was the master of storyboarding, and he'd have the entire movie on the wall before they ever shot a shot. And so, I respect that too. My style is a lot more fluid. I like to discover things on set. I have an idea. I even have storyboards, in my script. But if I discover something different, I'm okay moving in that direction. Or if the actor discovers something, or if Cameron has an idea on how to move the camera. When you're in smaller independent films like I am, you don't usually get the massive pre-production that a lot of these bigger directors get. So we just figure things out as we go.
I
Cool.
think if I was in the industry, I'd want to work with Wes Anderson just one time.
Yes, he's wonderful. Yeah, I would love that too.
He's kind of brilliant in his own
Yes,
unique way. I love his stuff.
very unique. Yes, very unique.
13 years ago, maybe 14, I was in between jobs and I had nothing to do. So I saw a thing on the internet here in Texas. It's one of those casting things. And so I
Mhm.
went and did a couple of short films as an extra. One, I could tell the kids were right out of college and I knew it
Yeah.
wasn't going to, but then I went to a second one and these guys had their shit together, but
Mhm.
I called them a year later, but they never moved forward with it. But I was like, oh,
Mhm.
cool. I was in a couple of short stories or
Mhm.
short
Yeah.
films, short films.
Yeah.
So
That's fun. Yeah, there's one shooting here in Abilene. I just got a call today from a director, and he's shooting here in Abilene, so I'm going to be helping him out too. First time director, small budget, so I'll do whatever I can to help him succeed.
well,
Well,
cool.
that's
Well,
awesome.
let's go
Mhm.
back to high school.
Sure.
Um, other than Miss, oh no, that's Lisa's question. I'm sorry, Lisa, but let me think of. Is there anything you can share other than theater, like a story from high school with you and some of your friends? That Doug Woolley. I mean, looks like he was a prankster. Can you
Yeah.
share something that you would love to?
Yeah. I can't think of any more with Doug Woolley. He was always getting us into trouble for sure. Him and Carrie Kelly. But
I mean, what did you guys do? You guys go on Fifth Street? I didn't know what. I mean, back then, I don't know what was
yeah,
there for you guys to hang out at.
oh yeah, we cruised Fifth Street and we had our parties and our trips to Nazareth and all the stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, I'll tell a story that we had made our way into the old Hilton Hotel when was shut down. You know, it had been shut down for a long time, and we got up in there and we used to have wrestling matches. We put all the mattresses that were left there, which now I think were so gross. I mean, you'd hit them and dust
Oh.
would come off of them. I don't know how we did it. I don't know how I did it because I'm such a clean freak now. But that we'd line a whole room with mattresses and we'd have big wrestling matches, stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, we were really close. The theater group got really close. I think part of it was Victoria Spangler. She was just a real uniting factor. We had a lot of fun with her. Um, but yeah, I mean, I wasn't athletic at all. So if I didn't have drama, I didn't have much of anything. I almost flunked bowling under Mrs. Kite. So
How do you flunk that?
she asked me the same thing. She says, Kenny, I feel like you're messing around. And I'm like, no, seriously, Mrs. Kite, I just really can't bowl. And so she's doing the final, I guess, you know, you have to bowl for your final. And she's watching me and I am trying my hardest. And I think I scored like a 90 or something. And she gave me a C and passed me. And I was like, thank you.
Cool.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. So you
Yeah,
talked
I was
earlier
bad.
that you were a smart student, but you weren't necessarily a great student, which is two
Yeah,
different things. Is that how
yeah.
you best would describe yourself? I mean, was school just a chore, or you just what made you not be motivated as a student?
You know, back then they didn't really, I don't remember them ever diagnosing ADD or ADHD, but I'm pretty sure I would landed in one of those categories back then. My mind was constantly racing. Like I said, I had a massive imagination and I just had a hard time sitting and focusing. When I did the work, you know, I was in some advanced classes, and when I did the work and applied myself, I did fine. It just, if it was a class that didn't interest me or I had a hard time with, and I think, you know, a lot of times with when you're a kid, a teenager, success kind of determines what you're going to put your effort to. If I found success in something, then I got excited about it. But if I didn't have that success, I had a really hard time, you know, applying myself. And yeah, I didn't go to college. I went to the Marine Corps, and then all my work and everything's been. I've taught at the college level. I wrote the film program for a college, but I never went myself. So
Well, it looks like you're doing pretty good without having to go to
yeah,
Yeah.
college.
yeah.
You
So
know,
I mean,
did they even have did we even know about ADD when we were in school?
That's what he
I don't.
mentioned. No,
Yeah, I don't
no.
think so. And
I don't
so
remember hearing about
Yeah.
it.
yeah,
I was diagnosed
mm-mm,
way into adulthood. I'm, you know, like
yeah.
I'm in my late 30s or whatever. I'm like, man, well, I really could have used this when I was in school.
Well, what's funny now too is I absorb YouTube videos like a sponge. So I think it was learning at my pace and in my way because I have found that I actually really love learning, but it has to be topics that I'm interested in and at my pace. And so I turn those YouTube videos up to 2 times speed, and I just absorb stuff. So it's kind of ironic when you think about it. So.
So who did you hang out with in high school?
Uh, I had 2 groups of friends. I had my theater friends, which was Doug, Carrie, Joe Camargo, Michelle Mayer. Trying to think, I'll definitely miss some names. So sorry if I miss names, but think Sandy Molina, Heather Flatt. So there was that theater group, but then I had some guys that I hung out with that were more from childhood that I had grown up with, and one of my best friends to this day is Daniel Alvarado, and we knew each other when we were like 3 years old, went through school together, and still, talk on a weekly basis. And a friend named Jeff Roden, and another friend named Billy Deck. And yeah, so when I wasn't hanging out with my theater friends, I was hanging out with them. And it's funny, I don't know why it was this way, but it was almost like two separate groups that never mixed. But I tried to hang out with them equally. So
I had two, same here. I had two group of friends. I had my athlete friends because I was an athlete. I played baseball,
yeah,
and I had my pothead friends. They knew that I couldn't smoke or because I was playing. Because that's under the Sherwood back when Greg Sherwood was the coach, and you couldn't drink or smoke or do any drugs. So,
right.
do you go to your reunions, your high school reunions when they have them?
No, I haven't been to one. I was all ready to go to one. I want to say it was the 20th or the 25th, and it got canceled at the last minute. I think it was right around the time Facebook was getting big. And I think because everybody was kind of, catching up with each other on Facebook, and we could see each other's photos and lives, it became less of a thing, or a little bit harder to get people to go to reunions. But yeah, so the whole thing was canceled. I'd already booked hotel and everything. But so I haven't been to one, but I do keep in touch with quite a bit of people on Facebook. And
Well, if you become
yeah,
big, don't forget your friends and Plainview, man. Go to those reunions.
yep.
So,
You
When was
know,
the last time you went to Plainview?
um, let me think. It was a couple of years ago. My mom still owns the house that we grew up in. And
Seriously?
so, yeah, and I'm the power of attorney for my mom. So I rent that house out, and I had gone to check something on the house a couple of years ago after we got here to Abilene. It's not far anymore. So, but yeah, and yeah, I could barely recognize the place. I was driving around trying to remember where things were. I hadn't been there for quite some time, probably about 10, 15 years before that. So, um, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love Plainview. I love my childhood. I love growing up in Plainview. And I tell people about it all the time that I had the best childhood, grew up in the best town with the best people. But I haven't had many reasons to go back, not on a regular basis anyway.
oh, cool,
Yeah.
cool. We're at the end actually.
Yeah.
Lisa, you have any other questions?
No, I think we've covered everything. This has been just really delightful and interesting.
Well, let's ask him about the one more question. Licks. Did you get? Were
Yeah.
you that kind of kid that got licks in
Oh
high
my
school?
gosh. This is crazy. I had avoided licks my entire school career, and I can't remember if it was the end of my junior year or senior year, but I talked back to a teacher, got sent to Mr. McBee's office, and I got two licks. And it was literally 2 or 3 days before school was out, whichever year it was. And so I didn't have the option of taking in-school suspension or anything else. He basically said, you have a choice of licks or licks. That's it. And I was like, oh man, because I would have definitely picked the in-school suspension. Boy, it hurt.
I would just say, do you still feel it?
I regretted talking back to that teacher so bad after that.
He's gonna be in our show in March.
I heard about that. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah,
So
it's
I
gonna be
mean,
amazing.
of course I'm gonna ask him, respectfully first if we should even bring up the licks, but every person that we have on here from
Everybody, yeah.
Plainview mentions him. So
Yep. Oh yeah, he knew how to give a lick. I had no idea what I got myself into.
And the
well,
question is, did you cry? I would have
I
cried.
wanted I wanted to so bad, but I was trying to hold my pride together. I mean, my eyes were definitely watering, but I was holding back. It hurt.
did you
I,
tell your
I
parents?
yeah, my mom was pretty cool about that kind of stuff.
Okay.
She would kind of yell at me a little bit, but she would be like, "Well, you got what you deserve," so should have talked back to the teacher.
I can see your mom saying that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Kenny,
Yeah.
we appreciate it, man. I mean,
Yeah.
thank you for coming on, and hope you enjoyed yourself, and of
Yeah.
course, we wish you the best of luck. And This is the part where we say our parting words. So after
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Well, I had a blast. Thank you guys so much for having me on, and you guys do such a great show. And yeah, just you really surprised me with Miss Spangler coming on. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on any movies that come out, and
Absolutely.
you
We
can
have
let me know what you think.
we
I
have a
would love
segment
that.
called STS 30, which means shoot the shit for like 30 minutes. So anytime you want to come on and talk about it for 30 minutes, just reach out to me. You have
Okay.
my number. But absolutely. So
Yeah.
Miss
Well,
Lisa.
thank you. Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, I think first of all, thank you again for coming on. It's nice seeing you after so many years. You were just a little boy the last time I saw you. You were in sixth grade, actually. Oh
Yeah.
no, you were in fifth grade because
Fifth grade. Yeah.
I was a junior.
Yeah.
Michael and I were talking about this last week that one of the not one but the most fun thing about doing this program is that we're storytellers in a different kind of
Hmm.
way in real time, and to have a collaboration with you tonight from
Hmm.
two fellow storytellers to another who does it professionally was just
Yeah.
a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
we're just really
It,
grateful.
it really was. And you guys really are doing a great job. Thank you so much for doing this. I was telling some of my friends about this, and they're like, "What? People from your high school do this?" I was like, "It's the best thing ever." So
Oh, cool.
anyway,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
Thank
yeah,
you.
you.
You can thank us by if you have a movie, you need a couple podcasts, you have a scene with that,
yeah,
podcast people. Hey, we're pretty cheap.
yeah. Hey, done.
Yeah, I do want to say one more thing. You were talking about earlier your passion for telling the stories. And you mentioned about through time everybody tells
Hmm.
stories. Before there was any kind of technology, people sat around a
Hmm.
campfire and told stories.
Exactly.
And then
Hmm.
when the advent of radio came on, everybody, the whole family would sit and hear stories on the radio.
Right.
Stories preserve history.
Hmm.
Stories are time capsules, and
Hmm.
regardless of the medium of how they're told or the platform, they're important. They're important. All
Absolutely.
these are live sessions, but they're also
Hmm.
recorded, and the fact that we get to relive so many stories from high school and tell stories from fellow classmates and fellow people from our community, I think it's just super important. And
Yeah,
we need more storytelling
I
in our
Absolutely.
world
agree.
today.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Well, I want to say a couple more things before I let you go. I just watched the movie Jay Kelly with George Clooney. Good
Uh-huh.
movie, great movie. I don't know if you guys watched it or
I have,
know
No,
anything
but
about it.
I plan on it. I
It's
plan
yeah,
a
on
I've,
it.
yeah,
go
I
ahead.
want to watch it. It's definitely on my list. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a good movie. And
Mhm.
I already forgot the second thing. Oh well, if I remember, I'll text you. That's what happens when you turn 61, Kenny. So,
Hey, already, I'm the same way.
but thank you again, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you for
yeah.
coming on,
Thank,
and
thank you guys so much for having me. Yeah.
good luck. Break a leg.
Okay. Thank
Yes,
you
for
guys.
sure.
It was
Thank
fun.
you.
And
All
good night.
right.
Bye bye.
Good night. Bye.
He's gonna make it. He's got the urge, the
The
planning.
drive.
I mean, the drive. I mean, you can tell he's very organized. He's gonna make it. God, I remember the festivals. He's gonna be hanging out. Going to Cam and going to this. What's that one in
Sundance.
Sundance? I mean, he's gonna do it, and I wish him the best of luck. So.
I know. I'm super proud. Hometown boy doing something really big.
And then you knew him, and he was a little snotty kid.
I did when I'd go over to Mona's. Yeah, it was so much fun. He's just an older version of the little boy that I met. I mean, because he and my sister are the same age.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. 89. So,
Hmm.
but that, yeah, it was pretty cool. I reached out to Victoria like when I first talked to him, like before November, and sent her a message. And I should have said this on. Hopefully, he'll watch the end of it. But the way I got a hold of her, I read her details on her Facebook, and she worked at Hardin Simmons. So I went to the website Hardin Simmons and drama, and there she is. She's the professor, and there was a phone number listed. So I called her and left her a voicemail. And I think I also had an email, and I emailed her, and she called me back. She goes, "Oh, hey," and I told her what the gist was, and she goes, "Absolutely." So we talked a little bit, and
that's wonderful.
yeah, and it took a lot of me just
A lot of research.
do research. Yeah, and but it was great. Yeah, she does look like Cindy Lauper.
Oh, as soon as I saw her, I'm
Is
like,
that
oh
what
my
Cindy
God.
Lauper's beautiful? You know what I
Yes,
mean?
well,
So
even her mannerisms and
Yes.
her the way she was animated in her speech, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, she should play Cindy Lauper. It's her doppelganger.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, a younger Cindy Lauper.
Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. We sure did, and of course, we wish him the best of luck. But I don't think he needs our luck. I think he's got his shit together, and he told me about that one, about the one he's working on now, that 30 million. I mean, that's huge. That's huge for him. So
Yeah, that's a big production.
yeah,
for
I'll
sure.
stay in touch with him. I'll especially when those other two movies when he finishes with the production. So anyway, guys, so next week we one of the groups had to cancel. So there's one other group or person that I may slide into that spot. So I will let you know, Lisa, and also we'll let you guys know too on our Facebook page. So thanks everyone. Peace and love, and good night. Oh yeah, my bad. Go Knuckle.